This is the Witchy Wit podcast, episode 10, When Witch Shit Goes Bad. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Witchy Wit podcast, where we look at life through a witchy lens. I'm Kimberlyn.
I'm Leilani.
At Witchy Wit, we explore current events,
Ideas,
music and books,
and experiences in ways that recognize energy and life in everybody and everything.
We are both real witches.
And we bring two real perspectives through the lens of our different ages,
Races,
and backgrounds.
with a healthy skepticism for what we have been told is true. Our conversations are raw, candid, and vulnerable.
Join us as we cast a spell to uncover what we each know is true in our intuitive, witchy selves.
So this is our Witchy Wit podcast, and we're going to be talking about witch stuff and how much fun it is when it goes well. But actually, we're going to be talking about how much fun it's not when it goes bad. But we're going to enjoy it, I think. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about, where we are right now, how we're kind of dealing with life outside of witchy stuff. So would you like to share with us?
I would really like to share. So one of my hobbies is cleaning. I love to clean. So I use a lot of cleaning metaphors, I think, in my brain. And one of my metaphors for life is that I want to keep my house clean. Like I want to keep my life clean, like not cluttered with things I don't need, with negative energy, things like that. So I do a lot of work, whether it's with the Enneagram or with like working with a counselor, or I do a lot of journaling, update my daily tarot practice, which is I have not missed a single day. Whoop, whoop.
Yay!
So, I feel like I'm constantly bringing things up and working on them and letting them go, moving through them, working with them. And I just feel like sometimes I hit those things where it's just like getting punched in the face, and I just cannot, it's like, I feel like I can't get rid of it. I feel like it's just like this heavy jacket that's on me and I cannot, like I try to take it off and then I turn around and it's still there.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm definitely in that right now. And I know that it's like a phase that I pass through, the phase of like feeling like it's never ending and pointless and like never going, and it's like I just have this stuff with like my in a previous relationship, I had issues with my partner being honest with me about finances and then being unemployed or underemployed and me being responsible for all of the money and all, and just feeling depleted financially and energetically and used. And then my partner now is moving through school and he's just started his doctor of physical therapy program. And I keep kicking the can down the road where I'm just terrified. Like he's not going to graduate from his bachelor's and then he does. And I'm like, well, he's not going to apply for grad school. And then he does. Well, he's never going to get in. And then he does. And then now he's in his DPT program. And I'm like, he's going to get, he's not going to go. Like he's going to just stay home and play video games all day, and it's just like this is not rooted in reality, but it feels so real. It's just so hard.
It is. And probably you just need more reality where, I mean, you're countering a lot of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So, oh, wow. But this will pass, right?
Yeah, I know it. I know that it will. Thank you for saying that.
I mean, I don't want to
Do you think it'll pass?
I don't want, like when we're talking like this, you don't want to just say, okay, honey, but it will. And,
yeah.
And you're strong and he's strong and you're fabulous. Both of you are fabulous. And
I'm in that point right now where it feels like it won't. I know from, doing this process, what feels like 742 times it does. But I'm in that moment where it just feels like, ugh.
Yeah. And you kind of have to sit. I mean, I'm not saying, okay, don't do that. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to sit in that for a moment. And I'm sorry that you're sitting in that right now.
Thank you.
And I'm holding space for you.
Oh my gosh, you're the best.
Yes, and letting you know that it will pass.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sure,
okay.
My pleasure.
So what about you? Can I hear about your check-in?
Okay. Oh yeah. So one of the things that I have been doing, I'm not actually doing it yet. I'm doing the preparation for it, but it's still so much fun. Is I love art and I love going to museums, and I love crafting and stuff like that. And, you know, painting and all that kind of stuff are not my long suit. I mean, they're not my things that are really good for me. You can see the paintings that I have, but they're from those places where you go get wine.
You get wine.
You and your girlfriends go, and you're all painting the exact same picture.
Are a little squiggly.
Yeah. Yes. So it's that, but that's my speed. That and kind of cover my numbers and stuff like that. Anyway, but what I do love to death is collaging. And to me, it's like a little bit of magic where you're taking all of these various elements and you're putting together, and it tells me something. It's like a good collage either is summing up where I am at that moment, or it's something I'm going towards, but it's beautiful. It's like visually beautiful, and it's symbolic, and it's, to me, the actual practice of putting it together is ritualistic, and so I'm making like a little it's really a magic amulet, right? So I'm making that, and that's a fabulous thing. Well, I'm not there yet, but kind of preparation for that is just going through. It's like I have so many freaking magazines in this house, and you're saving them for this article, that tear the crap out, put it in a notebook. Or what I'm doing now, which is tearing out like the pithy sayings and the beautiful pictures. And I'm not putting them together for a specific collage right now, but just putting them in my file is kind of a semi-creative thing for me, because I know I'm actually creating the elements that are going to be put together and it's going to be this fabulous spell. So pre-collaging is what I've been doing, and as you can see, I have a pile over here that has yet to be.
And then you have this large pile right here, just so everyone can.
Exactly. Yes, you can hear that. You can hear all of my collage materials.
The magical spell. Ooh, look at this tree. Okay, anyways, it's beautiful.
Yes, indeed. You see?
It's so
but
wonderful.
You see what I mean? It's like you can kind of like start to think about, like it's working in the back of your head, like a potion that's kind of bubbling, even though you're not actually stirring it. So I just have collage in my future, and I'm pretty excited about that.
I guess I never considered how witchy a collage actually is and can be.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I have a couple I might show you when we're done here. Maybe we'll put it up on our on our social media or something. But yeah, I love making collages.
Do you feel like it's divinatory at all, or that are you manifesting something through it, or is it telling you something afterwards?
Yeah, I feel like it. So there's a couple. Often. So sometimes what I will do is sometimes I'm actually doing like a vision board type of thing where I know I want it to have this, I want it to have that, and various things that are going to either refer to it by pictures or by like sayings or phrases like that. And then other times, and I haven't done this a lot, but thank you for reminding me, I will get the materials and just kind of spread them out, and then just let things draw me. And so I will pull, pictures and things and put it together. And then, obviously it's always going to be too much. And then, kind of like intuitively move things away and say, okay, this won't be in this one. And so create something in that way. But I think ultimately it's still some sort of either a spell or an amulet or a reminder or a vision or something like that. So it can be a number of those different things. I love it when it's a spell. When I create it and it's like, okay, so mote it be,
Oh, man. That sounds so yummy right now.
Yeah. Think about that.
And welcome to when witchy stuff goes bad. So we had talked about wanting to do this episode because so much of being a witch can be very serious, and it is something that you and I have both dedicated a considerable amount of time to study. And even so, I think we ended up talking a lot about the times that it doesn't go so great. And so in a moment of transparency and solidarity with everyone, we thought it might be fun to share some stories around times whenever things with rituals, things with priestessing, things with ritual planning, whatever, have just not gone the way we expected.
And that, yeah, I think the way we expect it is an important way of putting that, because it's not necessary. We say we're calling this when witch shit goes bad. But often what happens is, particularly in ritual, these things will happen, and we as facilitators, as the ones priestessing the ritual, will think, "Oh crap," and the other people are like, "Whoa, that was great." They don't know. So it's just not what we expected, but it usually is. I mean, with a couple of exceptions, it usually works out, right? Wouldn't you say?
I absolutely think it would, and I know that we've even gotten feedback amongst our the people we do ritual with, where they've been like, "What would happen if something didn't go as planned?" And we're like, "What do you mean? Like, it happens all the time.
It never goes as planned."
Right? But like maybe it's because we're such skilled facilitators.
Snap.
But that goes. I actually don't think that's true. I think what is true is that oftentimes what happens is better than what we planned.
And that's the magic of it. But having said that,
sometimes stuff goes bad.
So I'm going to start with one.
Okay.
So this one is an example of, this is a ritual where I don't think I was the head priestess of it, but I was supporting. But the head priestess, I don't know if she just like lost her shit or what, but it was Samhain. And I think we were doing a trance or a meditation. That's it. We were doing a meditation where we were going to be communicating with our beloved dead, or we had to prepare a question or something we wanted to know, and we were going to sit in silence, and then hope that something would come to us. They'd come to us physically, or maybe a word or whatever. Anyway, the facilitator, who's no longer with our circle, I should say that, she did this meditation, but I mean, how it's a guided meditation. So we were taking a train, and then she was like describing the cars and of the train, and, in the train stopping in the station. It's like, and we're sitting there, I mean, we're all, we want to go into this, but it's like, what the fuck? Like, who cares how many steps there are coming out of the train down to the, and she's going on and on and on. And I think eventually we got to the point where, we sat in silence stuff. But, it's one of those things where it kind of takes you out of it when you're so busy, not critiquing, but just like wondering, like,
right.
Yeah. Like, does anybody really care that you go down 3 steps, and then there was a path, and you had to pass these buildings, and it's like, all we want to do is just sit in the fucking field and let the beloved dead come to us.
Can I just see my grandma now, please? Somebody get me off this train.
And of course that might have been the first and the last time that she facilitated with us, because and once we got to the trance, I think it was fine, but I just remember sitting there, and your head, you're like, often your eyes are closed and your head is bowed, and I just remember my head coming up and looking around at everybody, and they're looking at me. We're all like, what the fuck?
I'm sure everyone's like, should somebody do something? You do something.
Like maybe we should like blow the horn so she knows that the train's pulled into the station, and let's bring this up. Yeah, so that's one where the facilitator just kind of like, I don't know, becomes enamored with the sound of their voice.
Okay, I've got one. Okay. This one is about me.
Of course.
So I had been a part of our circle for a few years. I had not yet started priestessing, but I was enamored with our agreements that we have with our group. And one of them is take care of yourself. So I was new to this concept of like, it's okay to take care of myself, which is totally true. It is okay to take care of myself. And there's a more, like my behavior has an impact on the group, which I clearly was not aware of. So these priestesses were doing this phenomenal ritual where, as a facilitator now, I look back and I think like, damn, that was a lot of ritual prep. So they had, this was just masterful. Like, imagine, so they had these hula hoops that they had purchased. So again, like another thing, like they had spent money on this, and then they had hot glued a layer of this like faux leather over so it kind of, like, if you can kind of imagine in your mind's eye, it looks kind of like a drum head. And then they had attached strapped to the back as a handle, and that forms a shield. And then they had done more than that. They had painted something I didn't know back then, a double-sided like axe type thing. I now know that's a labrys. That's a sacred symbol like it's a very meaningful symbol,
Yes.
Especially among people like us. And we were supposed to be, the ritual was about being a battle maiden and about like preparing for our own personal battles and like our shield. And it was just this wonderful ritual. Well, I was all like up in my own business thinking like, take care of myself, ask for what I need. Well, I want to have some fun. So, and we were supposed to, like the first part of the ritual, we were supposed to decorate these shields. Well, I turned that axe, which I now know is a sacred symbol, my bad. I turned this double-headed axe, if you imagine, into a fairy.
That's what it was. I thought it was a butterfly.
Oh clearly I didn't do it. Well, good job. I like turned it into this fairy. Each of the axe things turns into wings. I mean, I like paint all over it. And I'm like, look at me. I'm so special and unique or whatever. And to the facilitator's credit, they just kept facilitating. They did a great job. Mm-hmm. So then then the facilitator, the priestess, gives us time to take our shields into battle with us. Well, as if I hadn't done enough already, I'm like, I don't feel like going into battle. I feel like playing. So this is like in a large field.
Yeah, we're like, we're outdoors.
We're outdoors.
Everyone's with their shield and they're stalking their,
Yeah, so I don't know. Imagine like 20 women like stalking their prey and going into battle. And then there's me who's like, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna play. I start chucking the shield like a frisbee, a giant frisbee, running around, frolicking in the grass.
Amongst the battle maidens.
Right? Oh, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah. Well,
it's so embarrassing.
You had your own energy.
I did. And so I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot since then. And I know now, like, I need, like, part of being in a group is that respecting the energy of the group. But gosh golly, was I out of my league? And oh my gosh, this is like President Leilani goes back and is just like past Leilani, like, what were you thinking?
We all have those moments. But let me ask you this: at the time, did you have fun?
I had a hell of a lot of
fun.
There
we go. That's half of it. So I mean, you had your own little ritual going on off in the corner. So.
I did. It just would have been good if it didn't impact all the other women's rituals. But I do find it funny though. Like now we have things put into place so that if stuff like that happened, we have a vibes watcher. We have someone whose only job it is to monitor energy and to give feedback, which is also another one of our agreements. Which wouldn't have been interesting if I would have paid attention to that agreement. I just seem to only remember the do whatever I want. Right, to take care of myself. So
okay, but those were the days, and It makes for a great story.
It does. Is this like what grandmas do when they sit on their porch? Like, you remember those crazy days?
Yes.
In the whatever.
Yeah.
In the 60s or the 20s?
Hello, watch that.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do.
You can't do stuff like that anymore.
No, we can't. No, we can't. Indeed.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, well, So one thing that we do, one part of our a practice that we not only in our circle but in a number of different circles we practice is aspecting, and that's when you open yourselves to energy outside. Some people think of it as opening themselves to goddess energy, and it could be a number of different things. And so we tend to do a lot of aspecting, and it's enlightening, and it promotes growth and self reflection. And it can also go wrong.
It can also go wrong.
or let's say maybe not go wrong. It can also go in a direction that we didn't expect.
We did not expect.
Okay.
Yes.
So why don't you get us started?
I would love to. So this was my first retreat that I had planned on my own I know.
And it was so much fun.
It was really fun. It was really fun.
It was a lot of fun.
So we dedicated the retreat to Yamaya. And because of that, I thought it would be really wonderful if we went to the coast. We do live in Texas, so we do butt up against the coast, although that doesn't mean anything because in Texas you can drive for 10 hours and not get out of Texas. But it was like a 3 or 4 hour drive down there. So we all met down there on a Friday, and then we had the cabin next to the ocean. It was beautiful.
It was fabulous.
Like maybe about 10 of us in the cabin, and we shared this cabin, and the whole weekend was dedicated to honoring and worshiping her, which was just absolutely phenomenal. Well, we thought it would be a great idea to have ritual on the beach, because why not?
Because Yemaya, just a little bit of a fun fact, Yemaya is a goddess that's associated with the water and associated with oceans, etc.
So really wonderful. So we like went down there, we collected shells, we made crowns dedicated to her. It was just this wonderful weekend. So then we go out there on, I'm assuming it's a Saturday night, and we're on the beach, and we had this whole ritual planned around honoring her. And we decided to have a priestess aspect her. And that priestess would be...
Oh, that would be me.
That would be you.
Yes, I do. I do remember.
Yes, okay. So here's my memory of what happens.
Mm-hmm.
We call the elements, we do all the things, we set the circle, and then we invoke Yemaya into you.
Mm-hmm.
And then clearly you're not there. You as in
Kimberlyn.
is not there.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of the techniques we do, I don't know if you do it, is like we negotiate like what percentage. You're like what percent, right? What percentage, like all like 80% you, 20% me. You know, am I like one person in an empty stadium and you're like down on the baseball diamond? Like, is that like, that's how I kind of picture it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I remember looking over at your body and seeing that clearly, like, I don't think Kimberlyn is home. Like, it is
all Yemaya.
It is all Yemaya.
All the time.
So we're like, right. It's like Yemaya radio, all Yemaya, all the time. And so I remember we're standing in a circle and we're doing some sort of magical work around this energy, and you're just circling our circle. You're just like circling. And
which was what I was supposed to do, right?
I think so. I think that's what we had planned.
Okay.
And then eventually you were going to like bless us or offer us some sort of wisdom. And I just remember like you're circling around the circle and your eyes are aglow and you're just like gushing energy and love. It's just really empowered. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, where is she? Where is she? What's going? And we're all like looking, you know, and I'm like, wait, because I'm the one like, I planned the ritual, so I like knew, and I like, wait, where is she? I had one eye on you and one eye on the ritual. I lost you. And then I turn around and I look, you're walking off into the ocean.
And see, I don't remember, I mean, because obviously I'm aspecting, I don't remember any of this. So I take it I was retrieved. Did you call me back, or did you just...
I did. I started yelling and you were not paying... Well, it's also the ocean, but you were not paying attention. But I'm sure Yemaya didn't want to hang out with us. She wanted to be in the ocean.
That's because that's her jam.
Duh, right?
Like, you honored me. It's like, okay, that was nice.
Cool.
Okay, no, yeah. Okay.
Y'all are great. Okay, ocean rules. So then I like run off and I get you and we grab you and we, you know, like gently guide you, like come be with us, and you like come back out. And then we start doing ritual again, and you're walking around us gazing in love. And then again, it happens again. I think it happened like at least 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the it's the tide.
It pulls you.
Wow. And was it a full moon that night too?
It was.
Yeah.
It was
so it's
quite
like,
wonderful.
What did you expect?
Right. And we also had that group next to us that was like doing the lanterns.
Yes. They had the candles and yeah.
This like sweet family just happened to like, and then we have a whole beach.
I was gonna say, yeah. There's like, I don't know, 5 to 10 miles of beach in this one town alone, right?
Right.
And out of all of the places, we were there. We were set up, and I think we had our bonfire going and everything.
We did.
And out of all of the places that they could set up, they set up maybe 20 feet from us. Like, we're looking up and down the beach like, are you kidding me?
It's like empty.
It's totally empty.
Doing?
It's November or something. November. The beach is empty. Yeah, the beach is empty, and they set up 20 feet from us. I guess, and I like to think that it was our energy.
It was our energy. It was totally our energy.
Okay. Yep. Fun times.
Fun time. But that aspecting experience helped me remember that the goddess is not there on our agenda.
No.
Right. She does not care.
Yes.
Like necessarily about our agenda is not that important to her. So anytime now, whenever I plan ritual, I always remember that.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, she's actually doing us a favor by
she
coming,
really
right?
is.
You know, so.
Like,
and then we say, and now you have to do this, and then you have to do that.
Right.
Oh, make sure you hand out the pencil so that they can write their dreams down.
I don't care about pencils. I care about the ocean.
Yeah, that's like, whoa, and a full moon.
Right.
Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, but it's fun in a way because then it's an authentic experience, right?
Yeah.
Because she's like, yeah, well, screw you.
screw y'all. I'm gonna go hang out in the ocean.
Yes, and have fun and get wet. So our next story, both of us we were there, and this took place at this huge, large scale retreat with a lot of people from across the country. So much fun. A wonderful location in California, and then as a part of this, we create little groups that we call, I don't know if we call them tribes or whatever, but
affinity groups.
Affinity groups. That's right. Thank you. And so often we do some rituals together. Part of this, our affinity group, we were aspecting animal energy, and I can't remember. Neither one of us can really remember what the what the overarching intent was, but I just remember we were aspecting certain animals, and I aspected horse, and you,
and I did not know what I was going to aspect going in, and so I just opened myself up to sacred energy, and was just the goddess that we were working with that week just like come to me and let me know what animal I'm supposed to be so that I can do my work. I ended up being a bug.
Now, so when did you know that you were a bug?
When did I know that I was a bug? Great question. I didn't for a long time, but everyone else was like super cool animals, and I remember thinking like, why can't I be like a jaguar or a kingfisher or a giraffe or something cool, No, I'm a bug. So I know I'm a bug because I'm like, I just like start crawling on the ground. Like my belly is on the ground and I'm like crawling on the ground, and we had a blanket and I kept trying to get like under the blanket. Like crawling under the blanket.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you didn't know exactly. You had the energy.
I had the energy. Yes.
But you didn't know exactly.
And I still to this day don't know what type of bug I was. It's probably some sort of like beetle-y bug. I don't know.
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of picturing.
Yeah.
So we had other people in our group, and I just remember for me, it was kind of freeing actually, because I don't consider myself repressed, but I consider I don't know. Anyway, it was freeing for me because this horse energy was basically beautiful. just following your whatever you felt like, your instinct or whatever. And that's not something that I normally allow myself to do. I'm very much controlled. And so I just remember just galloping and galloping and galloping. And then the next part I'm going to tell you about is what people told me, because I don't remember much of this.
Well, I can validate or not, because I was paying attention.
Well, why don't you tell me what you saw, and I'll tell you what I saw.
What I saw was... Well, we were doing so we had divided our group in half, and one half was what we call a handler. So a handler would be the people who are not aspecting, and that's because of, see our Yamaya story. You should have a handler, because people in aspect don't necessarily remember to follow, like rules or norms or the fact that they're in a human body.
That's right.
So, and you shouldn't walk off into the ocean because you're in a human body. You're not a goddess. Not all the way a goddess.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay. So what I remember is, because I was a handler at this point in time, or sometimes it's called a keeper, and I just remember looking over, and you're just like hauling ass, and we're in the redwoods, so you're just like running around in the woods, and you're neighing, and you like ran up to me one time, and you're like, and then you just like run off.
Well, it's so funny because, like I have arthritis in my knees. And I have like all of these like physical issues, and when you're aspecting, you don't know that. But the next morning, you know that.
You know it.
And so what I saw with you, I remember it wasn't just you. You were like in this, like on a part of the corner of the blanket, and then there was one of our other members of our group, and I don't know, like she was nuzzling you, and I think, was this where you were, she was eating, like someone was eating
She was a snake.
Oh, she was a snake. Oh, okay, that's what.
She was expecting a snake.
Oh, okay. So she was, because she was like kind of like nuzzling you, and then it was like, is she eating her? So yeah. But I don't think she didn't bite you or anything, did she?
Here's a reason why she didn't.
Okay.
So she was curious in me at first, and I was not interested in her. I just wanted to get under the blanket.
No, yes, of course.
But from what I've been told, she decided she wanted to eat me, and she started to like come towards me and like lunge at me like a snake does to eat. And then one of the handlers, thank goodness we had a handler. He is amazing, and someone that is near and dear to both of our hearts. He starts like yelling at her to stop, and I just remember, because he is a energy ball of a human, and he is oftentimes very joyful, and all of a sudden he just goes, "Stop!" Just like with this energy, it's huge, and I was just frozen, and then she like pulls away.
Yeah. So I didn't see that part. I just saw the kind of the nuzzling part. I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then she got real interested.
She was, yes.
So yeah, those were some fun times.
Like no one ever. Now I think about it, I'm like, well, what do you expect is going to happen when you get a bunch of, like, if we had real animals and put them together, like,
yeah.
But we're like, yeah, sounds great. Let's all ask like different animals and then see what happens. We'll see what
in the dark.
In the dark, next to a creek.
With people walking. Remember there was a woman that was walking through or something. Yeah, and I was like, wow,
No.
Yeah, but it's one of those. It's a memorable choice. It might not have been our best choice, but it created a really impactful. Evening. So
yes,
yeah, and like you said, it didn't go the direction we. Did we even know what to expect? Did we even care?
I don't know.
See, that's the problem.
I'd like to think that we did. I'm sure it was a wonderfully planned ritual. But clearly it doesn't stack up to the image of you leaping off of like mounds of gravel in the riverbed.
Yeah.
I've never seen you leap that high.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And knees. That's all I'm saying. Knees. So yeah, that was, it took me a while to recuperate. I mean, I think it was like a couple of weeks of, some solid Tylenol and whatnot. So, okay. So, we've been talking about aspecting, and another element that we do a lot with is fire. And, you can burn away things with fire. You can use it to light your way, and we can use candles. Often, particularly when we're outdoors, we like to do bonfires and things like that. And I know that you have a story that you'd like to share about that.
I do. So, one of the crones in our group that I deeply admire shared a piece of ritual technology with our group. And to cut to the chase, it's that cheap coffee creamer in the type that's in a plastic bottle at the bottom of the shelf is super flammable.
In a good way. Well.
Yeah, in a way that it's wonderful for ritual purposes when used correctly.
Yes.
So we used it correctly under her leadership in our circle, and I also do some work with a group up in the Midwest, and it's young girls. And one of the nights we do is a ritual, and we create that ritual tailored to the energy of whatever group, because every week that we do the work, it's different.
It's a different
So
group.
I'm up there for a week and we're doing this ritual, and so I put it on the shopping list so that one of the people goes in town and buys like the cheapest coffee creamer, and I pour it into a pretty bowl, and I always say it's Himalayan salt from Western Uganda is like what I say, which is just like baloney.
But yeah.
But really it's just a giant bowl of coffee creamer.
Okay, so let's tell us first how it's supposed to go.
So it's supposed to go where we have the young ladies step forward and they say their affirmation of what it is that they're reclaiming. And then they take a scoop. Then one of the women that is working with us steps forward. They scoop the Himalayan salt from Western Uganda out of the bowl and they proclaim this and they throw it into the fire and the fire makes a beautiful roaring whoosh and goes up really big. Very powerful, very affirming, very magical.
It's very magical. I love that. Yeah.
Very dairy.
Well, very faux dairy.
Yeah, I really doubt there's any actual dairy.
I think it's the corn syrup and the corn syrup solids and the oil, the fat.
It is so flammable, and I have never used that stuff since then.
It's like it's a trauma thing.
Yeah, like it's too like whatever makes the go like that should not go in here. Like that's
yeah.
So that's what it's supposed to be, a very powerful experience. So all of the girls go, and it's really good. But then we have like all of this Himalayan salt from Western Uganda left over. So here's where it goes wrong. So then I'm the one leading this ritual. I say in my brain, let's do more. More fire equals more better. So I have all the girls get a handful and all the other women who are in the circle with us. And I'm like, let's all get closer to the fire. So we all get tighter.
So you're hearing all of the steps to the recipe for disaster. Okay, so step one.
Everyone listening is like, oh God, no. Yes. stick with us. Keep saying, oh no, because it's going to get, so then I'm like, well, let's get even tighter. So we all turn sideways and like wedge ourselves sideways. So we're really close to the fire.
And you can't get away.
Right. And you can't, you're stuck. And so then I'm like, okay, on the count of 3, let's all throw it in the fire. Mind you, we're 360 degrees around the fire. Okay. On the count of 3, let's throw it in and we'll give a big cheer as like a sealing of our magical work that we just did. Okay, nobody says like, hey, Leilani, this sounds like it's a bad idea. Okay, but not that it's their responsibility. I'm the one in charge. Like, I should have known better. So all of you are probably wondering what happened. Well, it happened. So we throw the coffee creamer in. It goes whoosh like a mushroom cloud. Imagine like 50 women and girls diving. Like, literally, they're diving out of the way of the fire. I jumped over a stump, like a tree stump. Like, I jumped and rolled over a tree stump. Oh my gosh.
But no girls were
permanently injured.
Okay.
In all seriousness, one girl her hair got a little singed. Which is just so, I still feel so guilty. Oh my gosh. Like I like, okay, seriously, we are laughing and it is funny, but like but it was a serious lesson. Because what, like, I'm gonna get serious for a second. Like, what it showed me was when I'm leading, especially in a sacred space, my energy is like, there's no room for compromise. Like, my energy is like, this is what we're doing. So like, 50 people, nobody stood up to me.
No one said, maybe we should back up a little, because they were following you. Your energy was, I mean, it was a powerful moment. You had built and built and built. Each time, every time a young woman threw that into the fire, the energy just accelerated. Or the energy just got more and more ramped up. And then when you said that, they were like, yes! I mean, you probably had them. I mean, they were probably like so pumped and just so like totally not. I mean, they were not on the earth. They were like, they were just in that moment. So, okay, but nobody got permanently injured, or even no one even got mildly injured. Okay, it was fine. Like I dive rolled over a log. I got a little cut. Everyone else was fine. They all thought it was hilarious. Har har har. Yeah. To this day, the owner of that still will message me, like, if I post something on social media, like, he'll comment about, like, don't forget the coffee creamer. You were going to, I mean, none of those women will ever remember, will ever forget that night. They'll remember their affirmation, and primarily because they'll remember that what happened right after when they were all diving away.
Would you say it's burned into their consciousness? Oh my
Very
gosh.
nicely done. Yeah. But
it's like been over a decade, and I still get comments on my social media about coffee creamer.
They'll remember that. And they'll remember the intent, and they'll remember the affirmation. So well done.
Yeah, great job, Leilani.
Okay. So continuing in the vein of fire mishaps. So I have I forget what they call them. It's not a fire bowl, a fire pot. It's a fire pot. So these are basically they're pottery. It's pottery, and it has a circle in the top, and there's a metal can that sits inside it. So the round pottery is just a holder that keeps the outside air from getting too hot. And there's a metal can that goes inside, and it's filled with a gel that you set on fire. And it can, depending on how much you have in there, it can go for anywhere between like 1 or 2 hours. The gel, I should say, I mean, this is not a part of the story, but I didn't learn until later that the gel is essentially napalm.
Yeah, it's napalm.
Who knew?
Who knew? Me.
Oh, you did. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So I did. Anyway, but the beauty of it is that the pots are beautiful to look at. They have a lid, so if the flame is going and you're done with it, you could just put the lid on. It starves it of air and it stops, right? So we were doing a ritual, and I had lit these pretty early on, and where, we go through, we light it at the very beginning of the ritual. We do all of the, casting the circle, calling the elements, doing all this kind of stuff. And then we start the trance. And and the trance is going, I mean, people are sinking. It's deep, deep, deep,
we
deep.
We do trance deep and long.
We do trance
sound
deep
a little
and long.
naughty.
Yeah. And uncut. Literally. Okay, so it's going, and I'm in charge of this fire pot, right? And I'm thinking, oh, the fire's going to go out like halfway, like we're not going to be done, and the fire's going to go out, and that's going to be a real bummer. So I'm thinking, okay, I had 2 of the little cans that go inside of napalm. So I'm going to switch out the one and put in the other. Now, meanwhile, they had turned out all the lights, and the only light is the light by the fire pot. And so this is, setting this up. And, but, I have like a little metal holder so I can get it out without burning myself or anything around me or spilling it. But it's dark. So I kind of grab it, and I don't know if I don't get it the right way, but, I knock, no, I get it up, okay, and I knock over the lid. The lid is nearby. And so meanwhile, this is what you hear. It's like we're sitting in silence, and I might be like a soft drum. Soft drum. Soft drum. Crash! Like, oh, no.
Click, 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 click. Because, and it doesn't just fall. Like, it falls, and it bounces, and it's circular, so it circles around.
Oh my God, I felt so bad.
And we were so deep in trance because we had been there for a while. So we were all like heavy into it, laying on the ground, silence, maybe a drum.
Yeah, so, okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, there was a lot of noise. At least I didn't burn it.
That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
like what would have happened?
At least you didn't burn a circle full of girls.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking. I was just thinking, at least, because I know everyone was thinking, oh, she knocked that napalm over, didn't she? But I didn't. I just made a lot of noise. So anyway, but yeah, that's my story. And I don't know if people still talk about it. Well, they don't in front of me because they know they don't want to fill me with it. They don't want to fill me with shame. It's still being discussed. Okay, well.
Okay, I have another one about fire. Okay, so this one is, I had just gone through my 2-year mentorship with another priestess in our group so that I could start lead priestessing. And this was my first ritual where I had like been a part of the team and like helped drive the vision. And I was like so nervous and so in it to win it, right? So one of the things I was supposed to do is during the ritual, we were doing some ritual workings. And during the ritual, there was an altar, and I was supposed to walk to the altar and just simply put my candle down on the altar and light it. Mm-hmm. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's all I was supposed to do. Easy smeezy. Mm-hmm. Well, I get swept, right, easy smeezy. I get swept up in the energy of, for me, being in ritual is one thing, but facilitating ritual amps up that energy. Oh, yeah. It's like, a multiplied by 3 or 4 mm-hmm, or something, mm-hmm. So this is the first time I've really felt that, and I'm swept up in that energy. And then I'm standing there and I'm holding the candle in front of me, and I'm standing next to the priestess who was supposed to cue me mm-hmm. by saying, and now we have a candle on the altar. So I'm standing there and I'm just listening to her, and I hear her say like, and now we place the candle on the altar, and I'm just standing there. And now we place the candle on the altar, and I'm standing there. And then she says, and now we place the candle on the altar. And she's like looking directly at me as she says it. And I turn and look at her, and I'm like, why are you looking at me? I'm like still holding the candle. And she leans over and she's like, go put the candle on the altar. And I look at her and I'm like, what's a candle? Like, I'm holding this candle and I don't even know what a candle is. Like, that's how, like, ritualed out my mm-hmm, brain is. Mm-hmm, like, mm-hmm. I am, like, well, now I know that, like, I allowed myself to be overtaken by mm-hmm. sacred energy. Mm-hmm. And so I was so nonlinear. I don't mm-hmm. even know what a candle is.
The thing that's in your hand.
The thing that I'm holding, right? Every witch knows what a candle is, not me.
Yeah. No, like, oh, wow.
So she leans over to me and she says, that thing. And she points at the candle and she's like, put that over there. And she's like mad at me, She's She's like, put it over there. And so I'm just like stupefied. I'm like, okay. So I walk over and sure, okay, whatever. So I like walk over and I put the thing that's in my hands on the altar, like she said, and then I turn around and walk back and I'm like, what? I don't understand what that's about. Jeez, let's just get back to ritual.
I know, like, hello.
Yeah. And then it wasn't until afterwards that I'm like, oh my God, I was supposed to put the candle on the altar. That's all I was supposed to do.
Like, what?
Like, I'm supposed to like be mentored. I'm supposed to be being mentored so I can be like a hotshot cool priestess. And I can't even put a freaking candle on an altar.
Well, no, it's not even put the candle. It's like, know what the candle is.
Right. I don't even know what a candle is.
Oh my gosh. And look at you now.
Now I know what a candle is.
Yeah.
That's my litmus test for like, are you a good priestess? Do you know what a candle is?
Wait,
Yes.
no, do you know what a candle is? Do you know you're holding a candle in your hand?
Do you know you're holding a candle in your hand in sacred space? Mm-hmm. If you do you want to be on my ritual team?
That's the bar.
That's the bar. It's very low.
Hey, but effective. Okay. So to continue with our theme of, when witch shit goes bad, we're actually going to read a poem by Pablo Neruda. I'm sure people know who he is, but brilliant poet, Chilean poet, Nobel Prize winner, incredible. Anyway, so this is Ode to Broken Things. Things get broken at home, like they were pushed by an invisible, deliberate smasher. It's not my hands or yours. It wasn't the girls with their hard fingernails or the motion of the planet.
It wasn't anything or anybody. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't the orange-colored noontime or night over the earth. It wasn't even the nose or the elbow or the hips getting bigger or the ankle or the air.
The plate broke. The lamp fell. All the flower pots tumbled over one by one. That pot, which overflowed with scarlet in the middle of October, it got tired from all the violets, and another empty one rolled round and round and round all through winter until it was only the powder of a flower pot, a broken memory, shining dust.
And the clock whose sound was the voice of our lives, and its delicate blue guts vibrated among the broken glass. Let's put all of our treasures together, the clocks, plates, cups cracked by the cold, into a sack and carry them to the sea. And let our possessions sink into the alarming breaker. That sounds like a river. May whatever breaks be reconstructed by the sea with the long labor of the tides, so many useless things which nobody broke, but which got broken anyway.
That was really beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Just the words, the sound of the words.
So beautiful. And this is like real time me thinking how at the beginning of the podcast I shared about that feeling, which I didn't use the word broken, but that feeling of brokenness. And then after just spending whatever it is, an hour with you laughing about all of the times when we were broken, and I'm using broken because of the poem. And it's reminding me of like the joy that there is in making mistakes. And so thank you for sitting with me at the beginning of the episode as I shared. And I'm looking forward now to the time when we'll be sitting around laughing about me, my neuroticism about this.
And remembering that we thought, sometimes we think, oh, we're going to be sitting in this. No, and it passes, right?
Yes.
And we look back on it later.
Laughing.
Cackling. Exactly. Thank you.
So may each of you, as you're listening, we hope that our cackles and our stories of us in moments that were not planned and that went wrong, but kind of right. May they find you, may they bring you laughter and a glimpse into our humanity.
And recognize that sometimes when things don't go according to plan, they're still going the way they should go.
And one last note before we head out. If you're interested in following us on social media, we're on Instagram and Facebook. Drop us a line. Let us know who you are, where you are, who you listen with, what you're connecting with about us, because we'd love to give you a shout out on our segment where my witches at?
Yes, indeed.
And something you can do that would be really helpful is if you rate us and review us. That helps other people find our podcast amongst the witchy podcasts.
Mm-hmm, indeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed the magic that has unfolded here at Witchy Wit.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Witchy Wit Podcast.
Email us at witchywit123@gmail.com. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Get exclusive content and support us on Patreon.
Stay witchy, y'all.